Right, today we turn our attention now to the judiciary. Well, remember the reforms that has been talked about in several quarters about the judiciary and its importance. But that's what we're talking about today. We're joined this morning by Mr. John Oloyede, who is a legal practitioner, to shed some light on that. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning.
It was maybe not too surprising to some people, maybe practitioners who relate with these people every day, because the practice requires that to be done. And then we're talking about such as judiciary employees, secretaries, court registrars, process clerks, bailiffs nationwide. It was yesterday the news broke where the CJN did say that there's this, it wasn't a case of speculation anymore. I mean, one of the papers said it was cases of massive corruption in the judiciary. And then coming from her, it, who knows, it really raises so many questions. Some despair, others thinking, maybe hoping that it will be corrected, but it raises a lot of concern. Are you surprised about this?
Well, it's no longer surprising. I mean, we're all part and parcel of the old system. That's where some of us make our living, and it's something that had always been there. I mean, it predates the coming into office of the current Chief Justice of Nigeria. Going back to 2007, there was a report issued jointly by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the National Office of Statistics, National Bureau of Statistics, and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes, as far back as 2007, stating categorically that in terms of volume, monetarily, of corruption in Nigeria, the greatest volume is in the judiciary. But in terms of frequency, I mean, you talk about the police, you talk about NEPA, you talk about customs. That's where it's a regular occurrence. But in terms of volume, big money transactions, big money bribes, it was categorically confirmed that the problem is highest in the judiciary. And so, I mean, since then, the Chief Justice of Nigeria only came into office in 2012. And that was the preface to her coming into office. Because when she was being asked questions, I mean, at the Senate, when she was undergoing screening, I mean, these questions were put to her that, what are you going to do about corruption in the judiciary? And she said, well, it's saddening, but she is going to make that a major work for as long as she's there. So it's no longer a surprise. It's part and parcel of her existence in the judicial arm of government, and one can only hope that the situation will get better.
You know, I think I'm happy that you have taken it to the day she actually went through the process in the Senate. But again, if you look at it, it was only in July here when she had that retreat, and she also accused some senior advocates of Nigeria of actually, fueling or feeding corruption in the judiciary by representing some of these judges who have been accused of who have been found wanting, so to speak. And now she's bringing this again, and we decided to look at it critically and look at what form of corruption we see on a day-to-day basis, especially, for instance, you're a lawyer. Take us through some of those things that you've been able to find out. You know, sometimes when we talk about corruption, we tend to look at the very big ones, not knowing that the little ones, maybe moving files from here to the other office, can as well be looked in that direction.
Yes, I can give instances. Now, I must preface my rendition by saying that just like the old, people talk about the old country, the whole of Nigeria. I mean, when you go outside the country, every Nigerian is a corrupt person to every other person that's not a Nigerian. It's a very sad part of our daily existence. You go somewhere, it's on TV stations all over the world. Every Nigerian is guilty until he can prove his innocence. So, but you know, taking that back to the judiciary, we all know that about 95% of Nigerians are not that bad. Same also applies in the judiciary. I need to emphasize the fact that, yes, there are corrupt judges, there are corrupt judicial workers, but about 90% of them are actually very clean. It is just that the few ones who are bad, they tarnish the image of the very good ones who are more. They are the silent majority. Now, apart from that, when the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime mentioned the fact that, the big money for corruption is there in the judiciary, it's not about judges per se. It's about the small workers, the ones you've mentioned, secretaries, registrars, and that the average amount that is demanded on the average is about $87, as compared to customs, police, water corporation, and NEPA, where the average amount demanded is something like $80. So you are not talking of hundreds of millions. The aggregate of it all is so tiny because it is money demanded by the support staff. And the business enterprises that actually, gave this information, it was a survey, about 2,700 company enterprises, said, well, the major problem facing them in Nigeria, there are two: crime and corruption. And that it is so rampant in the judiciary, they have virtually lost confidence in it. Now, taking that further, you find a situation where judges are either, the few judges who are corrupt are either complicit or innocent. There are times, you see, a judge is so powerful. A judge can write a ruling and turn night to day. And it is only by appreciating the full extent of their powers that some of these corrupt judges will fully appreciate how much they are affecting the economic life of Nigerians. Now, I was part of a process some time ago, some years back, and a bank was involved. And the bank did something, they got a consent judgment. I didn't know what was going on. It was only when they wanted to address a press conference and say, oh, you as our lawyer should address the press conference on our behalf. And I said, why? This is a banking matter. Then they said I should conduct a search in respect of a case that had been concluded. They were involved. They had another lawyer. I wasn't the lawyer. So I conducted a search. It looked funny, the judgment obtained. And then press conference, they wanted me to address a press conference on their behalf. And I was like, why? Why can't you call your lawyer? They want that. I have conducted a search. I have produced the search report. You have the certified true copy of your ruling. And they said, no, we're going to pay you any amount you charge just to talk. I became suspicious. So I went back to search. You see, this was during the regime when, before you could get forex, foreign exchange, from CBN, you had to justify your demand. That, okay, I need so much to pay so much, or I have so many customers demanding so much. So some of these banks, they formulated a plan, an action plan, whereby, because they know that, once it's a court judgment or order, the central bank will not bat an eyelid. So they will go to the court. They will bring a shell company, either a non-existent or a company that was incorporated by them or by their accomplice abroad, usually in the US. They will go there. This company will come and sue the bank for a debt that is virtually non-existent. They will sue the bank will quickly submit to judgment and say, oh yes, we are owing you $200 million. And we will pay you instrumentally as follows, 20 million per month. So once that judgment comes out, they take it to CBN. CBN will then honor that, will be releasing the money, and then they will be siphoning the money outside. I was shocked. Now, in that kind of situation, the judge may not even be aware that he or she is being used to issue a judgment that they are using to deceive not just the Nigerian government or the central institution. They are also using it to get money outside, a sort of money laundering with the instrumentality of the court. Now, that was a high-profile kind of thing, and I'm sure many banks were involved in that. In that kind of situation, well, I wasn't sure. You can only notice that usually these cases come from a particular judge. You are not sure whether the judge knows. Then that takes us to the issue of appointment of judges. Because a judge that is sound A judge who knows his or her law will be wary and say, look, something has to be done.
The state governor still appoints judges in their case.
I won't say they appoint. I mean, they present persons who are qualified, maybe 2-3 persons.
And one of them,
NJC would then recommend that, okay, this
From
is
among-
the person
from among
we
the three.
approve. And then you see what is happening in Rivers State. There's a stalemate. That was done. The governor says, well, the person you have chosen, I don't like it. NJC says, the person the governor has appointed, we don't want this person. So there's a stalemate, and there's a plethora of cases going on. So, back to your question. There are times, you see, there are high-level corrupt practices going on. There are low-level corrupt practices going on within the judiciary. It is known to everybody. And everybody keep talking about it. And it is not about judges too. I spoke with a retired judge who said, look, no judge will just go out of his place to go and ask for bribe from anybody. But well, some judges, when they bring it to them, they take it. They didn't ask for it, it's unsolicited. Well, that takes us to the moral issue.
is it
Why
not
should
both
you take it?
the giver and the taker according to the laws?
Well, it should be. Well, it was, in the lighter mood we were discussing, I said, well, why do you blame judges? And most of these judges, they can't defend themselves. I can sit here and castigate judges, castigate the whole institution. I will never talk about the role I played too. Nobody will blame himself for any bad thing happening in any environment.